What's up?
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
This thing on?
What's up, man?
How are you, dude?
Good, dude.
Long time
Good
no
to see your
see.
beautiful face.
You as well, man. You as well.
Yeah, it's been a little while. It's when was the last time you were on?
Oh, geez. I think it was before I was in this space here, because this is in my basement, and I think the last time I did one of these was when I was still in my office. That was at least a year ago at this point.
Wow, I didn't
Yeah.
think it was that long ago, but that's crazy. So
2022
you're in your
is almost
basement
over,
now,
man.
huh?
What's that?
Huh? You're in your basement now, huh?
In the basement, and I'm in the dungeon, as we call it.
I'm in the basement too, man. How does that end up happening?
Nice.
We just get kind of pushed down into a spare room.
Yes.
Whatever. That's how things roll. What's up, everybody in Facebook land? How you doing? Lots of folks are excited to see you on here. Sydney said, "What's up?" Somebody here, if I can find the comment, said they first heard about ShineOn from Joe. So that's pretty
Nice.
freaking cool. Do
Yeah.
you still have the ShineOn samples sitting out on your shelf
Oh, I
somewhere?
got yeah. I just was doing a I've been getting into TikTok lately. And I was just kind of collecting all of the samples and stuff. So I usually have them like a whole bunch of stuff right here.
Yeah, very cool, man.
If anybody else is on TikTok, go look me up. I got 7,000 followers in the last month, which is pretty cool.
I'm following you on TikTok.
Are you? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just got into TikTok like a week ago, or started playing around with it.
I've been scrolling TikTok for like 2.5 years, and I finally started uploading content. So
I should probably qualify. I'm just scrolling it right now. I'm not making any videos, but
yeah,
it definitely seems like it's an exciting platform with a lot of it's different. The style is very different.
Yeah, for sure.
From an ecom perspective in particular, it's kind of weird because like if you want a problem solved, it feels like YouTube is still the go-to.
Sure.
But you can get like, how would you put it? Like tips and hacks and things like that on TikTok. They work really well.
I've been doing it to just like kind of, for anybody that's watched my TikToks. There we are. Look at us. We look good, man, in those pictures.
We look a lot younger.
Yes. Even though the picture of me there, that was only a couple months back.
Oh, well, good for you. Mine was from like a decade ago.
Yeah, with the dreads, those are sick, dude. You should bring those back.
Got the dreads.
Oh,
man.
you do? I only ever see
not
you
quite
with
as
them, like pulled
beautiful.
Back.
Huh?
I only ever see you with them pulled back, so I didn't know.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know, man. They got really long. They got down to about my waist. So I kind of took care of that a little bit. They're just not quite as beautiful as they used to be. That's all.
No, they look sharp, dude. They look sharp. I wish I had dreads.
Well, dude, you too can be like me, man. Just no haircuts for a while. You know, lighten up a little bit on the shampoo days.
Yeah.
You'll be dreading in no time, brother.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to try it.
All right. Let's get into it. Today, folks, we're going to be talking about money mindsets with Joe. So Joe's a big mindset guy, like I am, and like a few other people here at ShineOn. Kirsta's a big mindset guy. So we're going to be getting into that. We're going to be talking about having a winning mindset, motivation, taking action, things like that. We've got a few little slides. We're going to bounce back and forth. Let's get through these announcements real quick so we can jump into the good stuff. Do me a favor, like the post, drop some love in the comments for Joe. Let him know you appreciate him coming out. We do have a lot of people here saying what's up and hi. They like to see you. Do me a favor. If you are, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission to show us your username so we know who we're talking to here. We have lots of Facebook users. Like the post, drop some love in the comments below for Joe. You know, we like to kick things off around here. It's never the same without the toast. The toast keeps everything right in the world. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but we were in the middle of a heat spell. And like the whole United States, it was hotter than crazy out there. And about 2 weeks ago, we did the Digital Marketer's Toast, and suddenly the heat waves all ended. Did you guys notice that? There was a strong correlation between the toast and the changing of the weather, right? It's powerful. It's magical. So let's do it. Raise up your glasses, mugs, bottles, and flasks. Join me now for the Digital Marketer's Toast. Here's to more conversions, more cash, cheap CPMs, and lower CACs, higher CTRs, much higher CVRs to enable ad accounts and big bank accounts, upsells, downsells, and cross-sells, to winning products and repeat sales, and to the thing that everybody knows, the riches are in the niches, but also your email flows. Cheers, everybody.
Dude, I don't know about everybody else, but I think you deserve an Emmy for that. I don't know if you wrote that. I don't know if you just read that from a script or not, but that was wonderful.
It's finally memorized. Took me about a year, but it's up here now. By the way, student loan forgiveness right here. This is what you get to think, guys. It makes the whole world a better place every week, incrementally better. People report getting tingles every week too. People feel it. They get tingles from the top of their head to the bottom of their toes participating in the toast. It is magical. Anyway, Yeah, I wrote it like a year ago, but it took me forever to memorize.
Yeah, no, you deserve an Emmy for that.
What
man.
are you drinking?
This is one of the finest seltzer waters that one can buy. Spindrift. If anybody's ever drinking this before, give me a thumbs up emoji in the chat or something. This is literally some top tier stuff here.
What is it called?
Spindrift.
Spindrift. All right.
It's a sparkling water. It's delicious.
You people paying for water. That's POD Ninja bucks right there. Buying water with bubbles in it.
It's got a lemon flavor too. It's got real lemons in it. I think it was.
You too. Watch this Coffee with Michael and take notes, and you too can earn enough money to buy bubbly water. All right, let's keep going.
Someone in the chat said high class H2O like Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, it's like luxury water.
Yeah.
Way to be. Yeah. What's up? These are fun. All right, let's keep going. I got some announcements we got to get through. Testimonials real quick. Seth, first 3 weeks with ShineOn products, almost $2,000 in revenue. You can see really took off here about 4 weeks ago. Must have found a winner. Congratulations, Seth. Love to see you out there taking action, testing new products, watching the trainings, putting things into action. That's how you're going to succeed here. Congrats. You've got some swag coming your way. Either Tammy or Robin from my team will likely be reaching out with a discount code to get some from our swag store. Carlos, I wanted to bring attention to this. He posted a ShineOn Facts cheat sheet. We need to drop this link in the chat. Robin or Tammy. I think Tammy's on vacation. I don't know if somebody's watching, but if you could type this in the chat, I would appreciate it. Every single week, we drop a facts sheet that tells you the best-selling niches from the previous week. We'll tell you the best-selling products from the previous week. Now, when I say product, I'm talking about the necklace itself. I'm not going to give away designs or anything like that. We never do that. So we'll tell you the best-selling niches and the best-selling necklaces so you can get an edge as we move forward into Q4. You definitely want this fact sheet. Last week, we had Reggie on. Reggie and Tanya talked about how important getting this fact sheet every single week was. So make sure you get that. Type this link into the URL bar, or somebody from my team will be dropping it into the chat below. Go download that. All right. Every week we grab 2 to 5 posts from the Facebook group to feature here. If you want to get some swag, drop some milestones, drop some tips and tricks. If you get your first sale, give us a screenshot. We'd love to feature you here, celebrate with you, and then send you some cool swag, like what I'm wearing today, the cool ShineOn t-shirt. All right, latest news. There we go. Thank you, Robin. Here is the link to the fact sheet in the chat. Click that. Go download the fact sheet. You're going to want it. Every single week, we're putting one of these out. It's very important here as we move forward. All right, let's keep going. Okay, we are finally in the App Store. Now, this may not be super exciting to the rest of you, but it's very exciting for us at ShineOn. To date, we have grown entirely organically. We've never been in the App Store or anything like that. About 3 months ago, Shopify scheduled a call with us, and they were like, hey, you're one of the top 10 apps in the world, and you're not even in the store. Let's get you in the store. And so we kind of partnered with them. We did a code audit. We had to clean a bunch of things up, but we are finally in the store. It would mean the absolute world to us if you could leave us a review. Help us rank a little higher in the store. Help us get the word out. If you left us an honest review, it'd mean the absolute world to us. You can do so right now, okay? I'm going to go really slow here over the next couple slides so that you have time to leave a review without missing any of the good stuff here when we get into the interview with Joe. To leave a review, go to the Shopify app store. That's apps.shopify.com. Just type ShineOn into the search box. ShineOn into the search box. You can do it right now. Pull it up in another tab. Go ahead. I'll wait. Okay, you should have done that by now. All right, next. You'll see ShineOn should show up the very first result when you search for ShineOn, right? Pretty easy. Click our little icon, right? It looks like this. It says ShineOn Print on Demand. Click the little icon. Okay. And then when you land on the page, you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom, right? It's what this little arrow signifies. You're going to land on a page that looks like this. Scroll down to the bottom. Whoops. And then right here, it's going to say write a review. Go ahead and click that button and write us an honest review. An honest review would mean the absolute world to us. Have you left us a review yet, Joe? I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot or anything, but
I have not. I have not.
Okay.
I didn't even know that you guys were in the App Store until this morning when Robin had sent me the slides and I was going through them and I saw that was in there. But I must say that is awesome, because the amount of times that I have talked about ShineOn, whether it's in a YouTube video or even just in my Facebook group, and someone has said to me, I can't find them in the App Store. Like, how do I sell ShineOn products? And I've had to give them the URL that you guys used to have to go install the app. That's happened probably more times than I could even count. So this is awesome stuff that you guys are finally in.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear that. I will tell you, what's crazy is even without being in the App Store, we probably had, oh man, I'm going to get the number wrong now. I think it was like 1,000 installs a week.
Sure.
I mean, not being in the App Store. So I think it's just going to completely explode now that we're in it. But anyway, do me a favor, please, guys. It really would mean a lot to us if you could just leave us an honest review. So just pop over to the App Store, leave us an honest review. It helps us rank a little higher in the search results. It helps us kind of come out of the gate swinging in the App Store. We would appreciate it. All right, let's keep going. All right, we got the ShineOn challenge going. It's like $27 if you want to join. If you're brand new, I highly encourage you to take the ShineOn challenge. If you've been around for a while, it may not be worth it. If you're brand new, though, this is perfect. It's going to walk you through everything from registering your business, getting the App Store. Getting Shopify set up, installing a theme, creating a logo. I mean, it's literally holding your hand, walking you through all the steps. Is $27. If you make a sale, the whole thing is designed to get you from zero to your first sale, right? If you make a sale during the challenge, we'll actually give you your money back. So there's pretty much no risk or very low risk. Let's say if you're interested in that, ShineOnChallenge.com to sign up, ShineOnChallenge.com. Next, we've got the treasury. So the treasury, it's like $500 every 6 months. You get access to literally every course we've ever put out. We just put out a TikTok course. Kirsta did this. I think he's probably one of the top 5 to 10 TikTok marketers in the world right now. You're going to want to check it out. So if you're interested in that and you're trying to get ready for Q4, this is a little bit of a no-brainer in my opinion. A lot of people, they'll charge you $1,000 for a course. You get it for life. Here you get, for $500, you get access to like 4 or 5 different courses, right? Anything that we ever put out is going to be right here in Treasury. It's $500 every 6 months. Go check it out. All right. Finally, if you're new and you have a product that you think has scaling potential, we partnered with Mario to create a done with you scaling program. So Mario has probably scaled 30, 40 products at this point. He's got a ton of wisdom, ton of experience. Joe can probably attest to this, that the first time you scale, if you don't really know what you're doing, you can do well. But you learn so much the first 2 or 3 times you scale a product that the subsequent times you make a lot more money every single time. You get to benefit if you have a product that's scaling and Mario thinks you're a good fit. He'll come alongside you and scale with you for a small fee. But I promise you it'll be worth it, because there's a good chance that with him you will make a lot more than you would have without him. So I think that's it. We got the virtual mastermind coming up. So that's September 1. This is going to be free for everybody. I don't know if you heard me before. I said there's going to be a small charge. We actually changed that. The virtual mastermind is now free for everybody. It's going to be pretty in-depth. Kirsta, Steven, Dan Martello is going to be talking. We're going to cover Amazon, alternative traffic channels, TikTok scaling, ad creatives. There's all kinds of stuff we're going to be getting into there. This is kind of an advanced training to prep you for Q4. It's going to be completely free. Stay tuned this week. We're going to be sending all the links out. It'll be in your email. It'll be here in the Facebook group, things like that. September 1 is when this goes down. You're not going to want to miss it. It's free, high-level training. Take advantage of it. All right, Shots of Espresso, published every week. Steven put one out that's like 45 minutes this week. Go check it out. It's in the featured tab of the Facebook group. So just at the top of the group, click featured. You'll be able to see all the cool stuff we do literally every week. All right. That is it. So it took a little bit, but we are ready to rock and roll.
I love that graphic right there.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Our graphic design team,
they're crushing
awesome. What I love about it is my facial expression freaking changes.
I know.
On the way down.
And the coffee splashes.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's pretty advanced stuff, dude.
It's legit. So, man, you're here. We're gonna be talking about mindsets.
Yes.
mindset. So before we get into it, I'm not sure everybody in the audience is familiar with you, probably,
Sure.
but why don't we do a quick intro to
Sure.
you, who you are, the man, the myth, the legend, and then we'll
Sure.
get into why you think mindset is important, and we'll start kind of moving through some of the material here.
Sure, man. So, yeah, I mean, this is always awkward when you introduce yourself, especially when you're just looking at a green light and you're in a room by yourself. But
I
yeah,
can lay some groundwork. I know you used to work at Target. I know you
yeah.
were a
So
director, like a
yeah,
regional director, I think it was,
no,
at Target.
not that important, not that important. No, I'm 32 years old. I live in Massachusetts. I've been married for 7 years. I got 2 kids. One's about to turn 5, one's about to turn 3. Um, Personally, I spend all my time right here and in my garden and hanging out with the fam. We enjoy going to like farms in the area, that because there's a lot of farms around us that have like you can go there and get food and ice cream and stuff, and then like the kids can go see animals and stuff like that. So we do that a lot. Professionally, like you said, I've been doing print on demand since 2016 for almost 4 years. It was something that I did on the side while I was working at Target, like you said, and I thought Target was going to be, like the thing that I did forever. I ended up, growing a lot with Target. I was a district manager. I oversaw 9 stores here in the New England area. I had 1 store in Rhode Island and 1 store in New Hampshire. If you know how a map looks, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But 7 of my stores were in Massachusetts. Then I had 1 in Rhode Island and 1 in New Hampshire. At the beginning of the pandemic, they basically grounded us, meaning they weren't allowing us to travel to any of the stores, and we were just basically working from home. At this point, I was running POD stores on the side, and ended up, if you can imagine, as a district manager for a retail company, there's really not much to do from home because most of your time that you normally spend is on the ground per se inside of stores. And I basically would do about 45 minutes of work for Target every day, and then the rest of it would be spent on POD. And very quickly, my wife and I, sort of realized that if I was able to really dedicate full-time effort to POD stores, that I could actually sustain a full-time income. And in May of 2020, I ended up leaving Target, and now it's August 2022, still going strong, still crushing it.
Wow.
And I've been sharing, my story and different things that I have done, on YouTube, and started my own Facebook group and stuff like that. And it's just been a really cool little ride here. But that's me in a nutshell.
So I thought you went full time in 2019. So it was actually 2020.
It was May of 2020. Yeah.
But you had the YouTube channel and the group and everything.
Yeah.
Since like 20.
Yeah. I uploaded my first YouTube video. They've since been deleted because they were bad. Like I wasn't really good at making videos and things like that. But yeah, I started, I think, in early 2019, like uploading content, and like I think that's when I first like kind of discovered some of your products, and I was doing a few product reviews and things like that. But all those, there's a couple of product reviews on my channel still. If you scroll back, people can see, some of the early videos, but a lot of them have been deleted because I wasn't that good at, being on camera per se.
Covering your shame.
Yeah.
I get it. That's pretty cool, man. So that was 2020. Wow. For some reason, I thought you had, you went full time a little bit before that. So in 2020, when you made the leap, did you have both your kids?
Yeah. One of them was 6 months old. My daughter, Bria, she was born in September of 2019. So she was
Wow.
8 months old, something like that.
Was your wife working?
No, she's been home since my first daughter was born.
Holy crap, dude. So you have 2 kids, single income, by the way. It's all you.
Yep.
2 kids, wife is stay at home, and you made the leap. Wow. That's crazy, man. So you got the health insurance all figured out and all that?
The health insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
that's
you
a
got,
mess. That's a mess. That's expensive because it's not employer provided at this point, obviously. But yeah, that's a sore subject.
yeah, I can understand. Wow, that's crazy though. I guess what I'm just trying to highlight though is the risk.
Yeah,
You kind of had the dream. You
yeah,
had a proven track record at that
yep.
point, and you took the risk. You analyzed it, thought it was worth it, and took a leap of faith. Anyway, it's
Yeah,
just pretty
yeah,
cool.
and I always make sure to say stuff like this. Like if anybody here has ever been on my live streams, one of the things that I always talk about is my story is not typical, and when we get into mindset and stuff today, like that's some of the things that I'm going to talk about where my story is definitely not typical. I think if anybody's watching this and you're just jumping into POD, one of the worst goals you could set for yourself would be to go full time with it someday, mainly because that's a big deal, right? The idea that it's a rare, right? It's almost like if someone has a dream to go to the NBA. Like, I'm not saying that I'm like LeBron James or anything, but it's a big goal. And prior to POD, I had a very successful eBay business. I was a district manager at Target for a little bit, and there was a lot of foundations laid financially that allowed me to step away and comfortably take that leap, as you called it.
I feel like this is a good transition anyway into
Sure.
kind of the subject of today, right?
Sure.
Because what in order to take a leap like that, like I've got to imagine you've got the thinking right up here. So why don't we jump into that a little bit? Where do you want to start here?
Let's start with we'll start with the traps, right? I think really when, just so everybody knows, we can set the stage. Like when Michael reached out and asked if I wanted to do this, and what I think you kind of left it up to me. Like, what do you want to cover?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of, I think I said something like, I feel like a lot of times there's like a something advanced that you can cover, or like do like a mini training or something, and sometimes in 60 minutes or 90 minutes, something like that is a little bit tough. And so I suggested we talk about mindset. I suggested we kind of talk about a lot of the things that you need to think about before you actually open a store, before you even think about opening a store. And the reason for that is not only have I been running my own store since 2016, but I've been making print on demand content for a long time. I've been running my Facebook group for a long time. I've privately coached people, and I've heard a lot of stuff. People have come to me with basically every situation, every struggle. I've made a lot of mistakes myself, and I wanted to, if I could think of one thing that I could share that I think could be unique, it would be a lot of that experience when it comes to mindset. And basically what I'm saying is, instead of coming on here and talking about, how to make a great design or how to launch a Facebook ad, like I figured, maybe I'll share some things about up here that might be able to help some folks.
Dude, I mean, look, it makes sense to me because in the print on demand space or the e-com space, even drop shipping, it's like everybody talks about the stuff the flashy stuff that you can see, right?
Yeah.
Conversion rates, revenue brought in, all this stuff. But what you don't see, what people rarely talk about, are the systems and the work ethic and even the mindset stuff that kind of goes on behind the scenes that fuels and empowers that kind of thing, that allows it to make it happen or enables it to happen. But really, without the structure, you can't do any of the other stuff. That's
I just got distracted for a second because I saw someone in the chat say LeBron Roberts when I said I don't think I'm LeBron James or anything, but that's a good one. But yeah, no, you're totally right. I think a lot of people, I've had people reach out to me that like I've just you hit it on the head, that there's a lot of things, like if you go on YouTube or if you go on a Facebook or whatever, there's a lot of ways that people can get sucked in to this. Like sometimes I feel like sometimes I feel like we're all like in this cult where we're like all trying to like just show up and make money, and you have to do a lot more than show up. And I think a lot of people, when they're new to this, and when I say this, I mean like trying to make money online, they they almost have a, if you build it, they will come mentality, in the sense where they view like a print on demand store as like a machine, where if you just follow instructions, put the machine together and then turn it on, then it'll,
just print
produce.
money.
But that's not what it is. It's a real business. And that's, kind of some of the things that I wanted to, go through today. And, basically what I have in those slides and is for everybody is three traps that I've kind of seen a lot of people go into. And these are the 3 bullets here that I think are, most common. Now, there could be certain people here that are completely new to POD and they haven't really fallen into any of these traps at all, and that's fine. But when it comes to people I just interact with inside of my Facebook group, when it comes to people that I personally coach, or even just things in my own past with stores, or even just not even just print on demand, I think with anything we do, sometimes we can fall into these traps here. And what I want to do is kind of talk through them and why I think they're important to avoid. We'll also talk about how to get out of these traps if you find yourself in them. And then on next couple slides after this, I'll talk through, some things that you can do to get your mind right to hopefully end up, doing well. So
let's do this first one here. Never-ending design making.
Yeah. So this comes from literally this is probably one of the most common, where I will commonly see people that they discover print on demand and they are just so excited. And I can remember myself, right? And I don't know about you or even anybody else in the chat that's been around for a while. When I first discovered print on demand and I realized that I could build a store, right? And I could make a design and put it on a product, and then I never have to touch the product. I never have to order it. I never have to do anything. And just how easy it is, that excited me, right? Especially because prior to POD, I was doing eBay where I was ordering a bunch of stuff in bulk and shipping it. And that was a whole nother thing. But anyway, like, I feel like a lot of people, they find POD, they get excited, and they get themselves into this never-ending phase of building and creating, right? I see this all the time where someone will create their store, they'll come up with a name, and then they'll start going through print on demand suppliers, right? And they'll start seeing all the different products available, and they'll start making designs. And before you know it, they have hundreds of things on the store. It's a complete mess, right? And I just oversimplified it and made it sound like that all happened very quickly. Sometimes it's a very long process, right? Like, I have people that I've talked to that they've been building a store for like 2 months, right? And when I say building a store, I just mean never-ending design, right? They're just constantly making new designs. I see someone in the chat said guilty. They're just in this constant process of creating, right? And this is bad for a few reasons. The first is you're just spending so much time. You're putting a lot of work in, right? It's almost like if you were, I'm someone who loves analogies, and I'll save this analogy because I don't think it makes sense now. But basically what I'm saying is you're putting a lot of time in, right? And I've seen so many people, like my Facebook group has over 50,000 people in it. And I have seen over the years, people join, they get really active in the group. They're posting all the time. They're asking questions. They're ordering samples and sharing their reviews of the samples from various suppliers. And then all of a sudden they're gone. They just disappear. And I think one of the biggest reasons is people discover POD. They spend 2 or 3 or 4 months creating a store, making way too many designs. And then when they launch, they lose motivation. Any little hiccup that happens, they get so discouraged because they just put in so much time. And if, hopefully this doesn't happen to you if you're watching, but a lot of times people will put effort into a project that's never going to work, right? They'll choose a niche or something like that that's never going to work, or maybe all the designs they made were no good and they should have hired a designer, and they realize that they're going to have to start over, and then they don't want to put all that time in again. So that's the first trap, is never-ending design, never-ending creation.
It's busyness without productivity. It's like it's like a pseudo productivity. It's kind of a form of procrastination. I see this a lot too. It's like you have a goal and there are these steps that you have to take to get to the goal. What happens is people just like get on a hamster. One of these steps becomes a hamster wheel that they never get off of, right? So it feels productive because they're moving and they're doing things, but like when you take a step back, they're not actually progressing towards the goal.
Right.
So yeah, I totally feel you on that. So let's see here. Next one. Too much fear to even start.
Yeah. So this is a big one too, where people are interested in POD and they're in this never-ending research phase, right? Where they never actually take any action because they're so nervous about all the things that could go wrong, right? Like, what am I going to do if the United States Postal Service loses the product, right? What am I going to do if someone asks for a refund? What am I going to do if someone has their credit card stolen and someone places a fraudulent order on my store? What am I going to do and the list goes on and on and on and on.
I see people do this where they'll order a ShineOn sample, and we used to have perforated edges, and they'd make a huge deal about these perforated edges, and it's like, I'm telling you, I've sold like who knows how many thousands of units at this point. I've never had somebody complain about that.
Right. Right. And they're almost, this is, like I said, this is another trap where people, they overthink everything and they're trying to learn everything at once, right? And the analogy I was going to give you earlier is what I want to share now, right? Like if you guys, and I know from the chat here, a few of you guys that, I recognize your names like from my Facebook group and stuff. So you've probably heard this analogy, but for those that haven't, this is a good one. I love gardening. I said it earlier. This year was the first year that we started vegetables from seed. We did it right here in this room in my office here in the basement. Some of my YouTube videos from about 6 months ago, you can see seeds behind me, like seedlings. And
you sent me some pictures too.
You've
got a pretty big garden.
We have 100 tomato plants right now that I grew from seed in this room, which is pretty cool. But the reason I bring it up is because when I first started the seeds, I've been gardening outdoors for a while, but this was the first year we did it indoors under grow lights in like March, like when it's still snowing out. So that way the plants are ready to go outside in the summer. And when we first planted everything, the plants grew and they got to about this big, and then they died. Every single one of them died here in the office. And what I ended up doing was the opposite of what I think a lot of other people do with POD, meaning I could have overthought everything. I could have done weeks of research on the best soil to grow plants in, or I could have done a ton of research about the best fans or how to water them efficiently or whatever. The list goes on and on and on. Eventually, I had to put seeds in the ground and try again. And I had to basically take the plunge and kind of go blindly, if that makes sense, right? And I don't mean go blindly in like a risky way, but eventually I had to put seeds in the ground, right? And I say that to a lot of people that are doing POD. Like eventually you have to do something, right? And there's also if that analogy, if you don't like that analogy, I remember from school there was something we were learning about Toyota, and they basically revolutionized the manufacturing industry. What they did was they started to implement what was called just-in-time manufacturing. I'm going to get really nerdy on you right now, but basically what it was at the time, a lot of businesses were ordering all their raw materials at once, and then they were stockpiling them and then using them as they needed them to create parts. And what Toyota started to do was they ordered things just in time, right? So they ordered just the right amount of raw materials to make the exact amount of vehicles that they needed to make. They revolutionized things, but you can apply that too to what you're doing with POD in terms of how much you learn. Basically what I'm saying is,
yes,
don't spend too much time learning a bunch of things that don't apply to what you're doing right now, right? If all you're trying to do is get the store open, right? Then forget about marketing, forget about customer service, learn the stuff about the store now, right? Once you get there, right, utilize that just-in-time mentality of that Toyota did with manufacturing. Do that with your learning, right? Because there's a lot of information out there that exists, and if you're like giving yourself to that, you're never gonna feel like you're satisfied. You're never gonna feel like you know enough to actually, do anything, right? And I said it perfectly. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get it going. That's right.
I totally agree with this. I call this learning on demand. right?
Yeah,
Where it's
that's a
like,
good way to put it
just
too. Yep.
learn enough to solve the problem in front of you.
Yep.
The thing,
Yep.
what Toyota did that was unique was they set up the entire system
Oh,
has a
so you
pull.
know.
Yeah, I've nerded out out I've read like 5 books related to the Toyota production system, but they set up a pull methodology in their production flow. So basically, what happens is they come to a step, they complete the step, they move a part down the line, and suddenly now they have nothing. Right, that creates a pull downstream, and they pull another part up. And this just-in-time kind of idea is that they basically don't ever keep excess inventory on hand. They're constantly just pulling enough in to complete the next step, if that makes sense.
Right.
Joe's saying apply that to learning, right? Like essentially what you're saying is just learn enough to solve the next problem in front of you.
Right.
When you come to the next problem, you create pull again. You go, here's a problem in front of me. I don't know how to do it. I need to go pull on YouTube or TikTok or wherever, learn what I need to do to solve this, and then I'll move on to the next thing.
Exactly.
I totally agree with that, man, because a lot of people, what they do, they'll take 6 courses and still not get started. What you should do is take 1 course and get started.
Right. And even with that said, like, let's say you do take a course, right? I have so many people that will join my coaching and they'll watch the entire course and then they'll feel overwhelmed. And I'm like, well, do you have a store yet? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well then maybe right now you probably don't need to watch like Facebook ads case studies because you're not there yet. Right. And it's very easy to get overwhelmed. And like I said, one of those, the second trap is too much fear, too much doubt, too much apprehension where you're never even starting, right? You're just so overwhelmed with everything that you just never actually take any action. I think sometimes people, they almost become, and this is not a quote that I made up. Someone's actually said this to me once, so I'm not going to pretend like I made it up, but I think it's brilliant, where they're almost more afraid to fail than they are excited to succeed. And I think if you really think about what that means, it'll make sense. Where there's a lot of things that can go wrong, but at the end of the day, take it one thing at a time and do your best, right?
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that, man. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Nice.
What's this one? Get rich quick lottery mindset.
Yeah, this is the worst one because this is the one that sets people up for tons of failure and tons of sleepless nights and tons of frustrations. It's the get rich quick lottery mindset, which kind of goes in with what I was saying before, where I talked about my story. I talked about how I've been by a couple of different measures, for lack of better words, successful with POD. And I always make sure to caveat that my results are not typical. Right. My story is not typical. If you're starting POD, you should not have the goal that someday it's going to be this full-time thing for you that you are going to be amazing at. Right. When you're starting anything in life, you are going to be a beginner and you're going to have beginner growing pains. Right. And I think one of the worst things that I see in the, not even just POD, but just like the make money online space, right? Because that means a lot of different things. You can be talking about drop shipping, you can be talking about print on demand, affiliate marketing, whatever, right? There's a lot of get rich quick lottery ticket BS out there where, I can't go on YouTube or on my Instagram for more than 2 seconds without seeing somebody driving a Lamborghini, which is why, I don't have it. Where is it? Right here. Which is why I make sure that I always do flash a Lamborghini so people can actually take me serious. But my point is, so many people, they see people on, and this is kind of how I got into POD. Some people, if you've been around my content a little bit longer, you've probably heard me talk about this. But when I started print on demand, it was because I had previously lost an eBay business. I was, have I ever told you this story?
I don't think so.
So my wife and I, before we had kids, we started an eBay business and we were selling electronic cigarettes. We were ordering them in bulk from the suppliers. This was in probably 2015. So like electronic cigarettes were, relatively new. This was like 7 years ago. Super new, super trendy, right? The technology was advancing and they were becoming extremely popular. And we started to sell them on eBay. And our eBay store grew to about $50,000 a month in sales very quickly. I was a 25-year-old kid making $50K a month in sales, not profit. But and basically we ran that business for a little while. And then the FDA came out with a report saying that they weren't sure about like how safe they were. And eBay ended up changing their policies, and they stopped allowing people to sell electronic cigarettes on eBay. So we lost a 50K per month business. And I basically was like, all right, I guess I'm just going to focus on Target. And I ended up, that's when I kind of put my head down. I ended up going back to school. I got myself a master's degree here for those that might be curious.
Wow.
Top one is
I
a
didn't know
master's
that.
degree.
You got a
Yeah,
big
man.
brain on you too.
Yeah, man. And I kind of gave up on this business thing. And then this was before we had kids, so I used to play a lot of video games, and I would often be playing the video games while listening to music on YouTube. And when you're listening to music on YouTube, every couple of videos there's an ad. And I used to see these people that were talking about, automated businesses online, and I was doing eBay and doing a lot of the shipping myself. So that attracted me. And I remember feeling this lottery ticket mindset, right? This idea that if I just do this, and this, and then I turn it on, like this is a gold mine, right? Where it's a lottery ticket. And I see so many people that they don't treat POD as a real business because it is. You're selling, you're marketing products to real people, right? You're asking real people to give you their real money. This is not that's why I said earlier, like some people view a Shopify site as a machine where if they just follow some instructions, right? Like if you literally have like a user manual and you follow it and you put it all together and then you turn it on, like it should work, right? Well, what does work mean, right? Most people say things like, I see videos on YouTube all the time that make me kind of scratch my head where it's like, will print on demand work in 2023? And it's like, well, what do you mean by work? Like when you say work, that assumes that it's like a machine that you're turning on. And before I ramble, and because I have a tendency to do that, you can't look at it as a get rich quick thing. You can't fall into the mindset that you're gonna. It's almost like people that maybe bought Bitcoin a year ago, where you saw these people online telling you to go buy Bitcoin, so you bought it, and now look at it. Not to say I'm not here to debate the long term of it, but basically what I'm saying is you can't look at POD as a get rich quick thing, and I think that it's very easy to get sucked in sometimes to people online that are saying like make your own 6-figure business or make whatever, insert whatever dollar amount here, and I think that's
dude. I totally, I'm hearing you on this. I tell everybody it's a skill set, and like any skill set, it has to be developed. Have you seen the movie Sandlot?
Yes.
Okay. You remember at the end of Sandlot how like they knocked the ball into the junkyard or whatever, and they got to go save it. And that kid brings out his PF flyers. They're these tennis shoes he has because they'll make him run faster, jump higher, and do whatever else. You remember that? And he puts on these.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but yes.
He puts on these PF flyers, and then he goes running into this junkyard with this like rabid bulldog, and they save the baseball, right? Because it was like a baseball signed by Babe Ruth. That's right. Anyway, I bring that up to say this. This whole idea that like it's you snap your fingers and you're gonna be making money, right? Everybody thinks that this POD game is like putting on a pair of PF flyers, right? Mm-hmm. Or like a pair of Air Jordans, right? And after you put them on, you're gonna be able to just dunk. And it ain't like that. Like you have to, it's a skill set, literally like anything else. And the skill set has to be developed. And you can't develop it unless you're putting in the reps, you're putting in the time, you're putting in the work. You've got to go out there and learn the lessons on your own, right? In order to succeed. So I totally freaking agree with you on that. I think you're 100% on point.
So yeah, those are, when I think of the traps that you can fall into, like those are the three traps, the 3 mindset traps, right? The first is this state of never-ending design. If you want to put the bullets back up on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. My bad.
And then the second is, too much fear to even start. And then the third is, viewing this as a get rich quick. If you're in any of these traps of these mindsets, like there's a good chance that you're going to, I don't even want to say not succeed, but that you're just going to drive yourself crazy a little bit. You're going to be super stressed out. You're going to not have fun running your POD store, and you're going to be putting in way too much mental energy compared to what you're going to get out of it, right? And kind of what I want to transition to is how to kind of set yourself up to avoid some of this stuff. Set yourself up in a way that you're going to have a better mental approach to this, especially now, right? Like right as we're speaking, it is August 26th, which is crazy to think that 2022 is like this far over at this point. Like we're going to be, I'm here in Massachusetts, so there's going to be snow on the ground here pretty soon, which is crazy. But basically what I'm saying is Christmas time is coming, and
Q4.
It's a great time to start an e-commerce store, but if you don't think this through, it's going to be a horrible time for you, and you're going to quit before 2023 even gets here because you're going to be too stressed out. And again, I've seen it so many times. I've been doing this for just like you've been doing this for a while. There's certainly been people that you've interacted with that one day they're just gone because they couldn't figure it out. And like I said, I got 3 more bullets for you guys that I think can help you to make sure that you stay sane during this time and any time of year. I think the first is to figure out why you're doing this. And this is whenever I'm working, with a new student or something like that, or even just like chatting with someone. It doesn't even have to be someone who's like in my coaching or anything like that. I always say to them, figure out why you're doing this. Figure out why you want to start a print-on-demand store, right? And when I say why, what I mean is figure out, like, if you had a print-on-demand store that generated you $500 in profit per month, or $1,000 in profit per month, or even just something small, right? What would that do for you, right? What is it in your life that you're looking to have happen if you were able to have a side hustle that was generating you cash, right? That's your why, right? And that's what you need to identify, because this is not super easy, right? Like, you're creating a business, you're asking real people for their money. And in order to actually succeed with it, you're going to have to put in work. You're going to have to do trial and error. And if you're finding yourself not really clear on why you're doing this, it's going to be tough for you to actually put in the effort, right? I often say to people, choose a print-on-demand product or a niche that you're going to have fun trying to make sales with, but also something that you're going to be willing to work on at midnight, right? If it's not something that if you're just doing print on demand because it's a cool creative outlet for you where you can draw things, as soon as you put a product out into the world and no one buys it, you're going to quit because you don't have a reason to do this. You don't have anything motivating you to want to continue on, right? It's almost like, if you were going to get in shape, right? If the only reason you're getting in shape is because, maybe there's someone at the gym that you want to hang out with, and then that person stops going to the gym, well, then you're not going to go, right? If you have a personal reason for getting in shape, you're going to keep going back. So that's what I say to everybody first, is figure out why you're doing this. If you're just coming upon print on demand and we're heading into Q4 and you're like excited, first, before you do anything, figure out why you're doing this, right? I oftentimes, I've given people literal worksheets before in some of my programs where I have them fill it out and actually write down why they are doing this, right? Why they are motivated to succeed with POD. Because if you don't figure that out first, you're not going to, in my experience, ultimately have the motivation to continue on, right? Again, I'll share, a little bit of my story. When I first started POD, it was after losing the eBay store. And my wife was pregnant, and our plan was for her to become a stay-at-home mom. And in my head, I was like, okay, Target's cool. Target's going to allow us to do this, but ultimately, I want to get back to that eBay level. I want to get back to that lifestyle that we lived briefly when we had an eBay business that was making us, some decent money. So my motivation was to thrive as a single income family, right? If I was just doing POD because I thought it would be fun to draw, then I might not have actually stuck it out, because I never really did well with POD until about 6 months into it. So that's the first thing, is think about why you're doing this. Okay. Go ahead.
Is it okay if I jump in?
Of course, man.
So, it's my interview, by the way. I'm going to jump in.
Yeah, you don't have to ask. You can just mute me if you want.
So, it's interesting hearing you talk about this, because I should probably spend more time talking about this as well, like people identifying a why. I tend to spend most of my time on the other end of it, where I'm kind of like, you don't quit no matter what. There's no excuses, period. You do not stop. You drag yourself to the chair every single day. If you can outlast your failures, you win. I remember I heard this story about David Goggins, that he was running like, I don't know, it was maybe an ultra marathon, or he's doing 300 miles in a weekend or whatever he did. He's kind of crazy. And I guess he stopped and he took his shoes off. And guys, this may be a little bit much, so just bear with me. But he took his shoes off, and I guess he had like toenails coming off in his socks and blood everywhere, and his feet look like hamburger. And somebody goes, "Oh my gosh, dude!" They're like, "That's got to be killing you." And they're like, do you want to pull out? Like, is this worth it? And supposedly David Goggins looks at him and he goes, "Why would pain make me quit?" And anyway, that is more like the now look, David Goggins is a freaking, I don't know, man. That's guys like,
I don't even know who David Goggins is, man.
I'll have
to Google him after.
He's a freak. He's like, as a kid, he fell into like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ooze, and he turned into like a freak. Anyway, I share the story though, just to say, I focus a lot on the other side of it, where I'm just like, if you can outlast your failures, if you don't give up for long enough, you'll win. Like, this is going to be painful. You're going to lose. Like, print on demand, you lose 95% of the time anyway. You're like throwing stuff into the Facebook algorithm or wherever you're running ads, and you're trying to find a winner, but most of that will lose, right? And like, you have to know you have to have the grit to stay in the game. Anyway, I have a feeling, though, that if I spent more time helping people figure out why they're doing it in the first place, they would have an easier time not quitting.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just learning here. That's all. No,
that's good, man. That's good. I mean, that's why I talk about it, because I want, I think both are important. I think if you ultimately figure out why you're doing this, you're going to be a little bit more sane as you're running your POD store. You're going to be a little bit more confident in what you're doing. So that's the first.
There's wisdom in that, for sure.
Second step here is coming up with realistic goals, right? And sometimes I think realistic goals are going to be different for everybody. I think the key here is to pick goals that are relatively easy to achieve. And really what I mean by that is, as you're doing this, you need to have like small wins, right? You need to have things that you are going to celebrate. You need to have things that you are going to be excited about, and ultimately things that are going to keep you going, right? If I was, let's say that I was someone who, or not even just me, just anybody. Let's say that you walked into a gym, right? And you said to the people at the gym, like, the doctors tell me I am not in good shape and I want to join your gym. If I show up and I work hard, do you think I can lose 50 pounds by the end of the year, right? The person that works at the gym is probably going to say, well, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to do that, because that's a long time away and that's a big goal. But what if you just make the goal that you are going to show up 5 days a week, right? Really realistic goal, right? That you actually have full control over, right? Because you can choose to go or not, right? Once that person shows up 5 days a week, that's a goal that they achieved. They're going to feel good about that, right? Now, the second goal, right? Maybe they're running on the treadmill, right? And they want to improve their run time, right? Well, maybe try to improve it a little bit, or try to lose 5 pounds, or try to lose 1 pant size, right? Some really realistic goals that they can use to ultimately get to their big goal of 50 pounds, right? So the same is true for you with a POD store. Let's say that you're starting, right? And you've identified why you're doing this, right? Maybe there's some debt that you want to pay off. Maybe there's, some sort of emergency that's come up that you need the funds, whatever it is. Okay. You've identified your why, right? Don't make your goal that, right? Like if you're like, oh, I want to make $5,000 a month, so that way my spouse doesn't have to work, right? Don't make that your goal. Make your first goal, I got to get my store open, right? That's a realistic goal because you control that, right? Make that your goal, right? And set a time behind it, right? Figure out how quickly you want to do this, right? So that way you can hold yourself accountable. And that way, when you achieve it, it's something you can check off. There's just something amazing. Like I'm looking around here. I got one checklist here, one checklist here, one checklist here. I am a checklist machine because I like to have little goals that I can check off. It makes me feel good, right? I think at our core, a lot of us can sometimes be insecure, especially when we're doing things that we're not super comfortable with. And if you're starting this, you're definitely going to be uncomfortable at the beginning. You got to get yourself realistic goals, and they can be as simple as just opening a store, right? Even if it's like just naming the store, right? Write out all, like if your first goal is opening the store, make a whole list of all these things that you need to do to open the store and check them all off. You're going to feel amazing, right? Take it slow. And then eventually your goals could become, all right, I want to make a sale. I want to make daily sales. I saw someone in the chat earlier say, I want to make $100 profit a day, right? That's a pretty good goal. In order to do that, you're probably going to need multiple sales per day. And if you don't have a store yet, maybe your first goal should be get the store open. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the second part of this. Identifying realistic goals.
I think what we're talking about here is the difference between goals and systems, right? It's like, or I call it lead and lag measures. And your losing weight analogy is a perfect one, because like your weight on a scale is what they call a lag measure. It lags behind the actions you're taking every single day, right? But a lead measure is something you have full control over. So like how many times a week you're making it to the gym, or calories in, calories out. Sure. Those are kind of lead measures. They're things within your control that you can do. They're little actions that lead to the goal. And if you build a system around that, right, eventually you can hit your goal. The idea is to build systems that help you reach your goal. So for example, if you already have the store, right, and you already have the niche, maybe your system, maybe your lead measure, right, is how many new designs you're uploading a week, for example, or something like that. It's like you build a system around that, and then eventually you can hit your goal. So I think that's sound advice.
Exactly. And that kind of is honestly a little bit of what my third bullet point on here is. I think a lot of people, they're good at, figuring out why they're doing this, right? They're good at, figuring out their motivation for wanting a print-on-demand store, right? They're also good at, coming up with a goal, right? I want to open my store by September 5th or whatever it is, right? Or I want to, once my store is open, within the first 30 days, I want to make a sale, right? I think where people tend to struggle is honestly assessing themselves and figuring out what it is that they need to learn. I think a lot of people, and I know that I say I think a lot of people, and please know that I'm not trying to sound like I think I have you all figured out. I'm more so just, again, speaking from my experience. I've been making print-on-demand content now for years. My POD NINJAS Facebook group has over 50,000 people in it. I've interacted with a lot of people. So basically what I'm saying is just based on my experience. Okay. I think people have a tough time honestly assessing what they are able to do. And then also they lack figuring out a plan for what they need to learn. Right. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying in the traps, like try not to learn too much, but based on whatever goal you have, figure out what you need to learn to achieve that. Right. So if your original goal is, I got to open a store. Okay. Well, then figure out what you need to learn to actually open the store. Like what do you honestly already know how to do? What do you have the ability to do? And then what will you need help with? Right. And then figure out how you're going to learn those things. Maybe you hire someone to do it for you. Maybe you hire someone to teach you. Maybe you find someone that you trust on YouTube. Doesn't have to be me. It can be anybody. I always tell people, pick one person and watch only their videos, because what'll happen is if you're watching all these different voices, at some point they're going to contradict each other, and that's going to drive you even more crazy because you're not going to know which way to go. So just go find someone, right? It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be Michael. It doesn't have to be either one of us. It can be anybody. Find somebody to latch onto and follow them, right? Basically what I'm saying is make an honest assessment of what you need to figure out and do it. Right, to achieve your original goal, right? And then ultimately, if you do these three things, I think you'll avoid those traps that I talked about before, and you'll stay a little bit more calm and a little bit more sane, and ultimately have a better chance of, succeeding with your POD store. So that's my message here on the Coffee with Michael, basically.
Yeah, dude, I think that's good. Let's do a quick. I want to do a quick recap. This is it, isn't it? Yeah.
Sure.
So good traps to avoid. Don't get stuck in what is essentially meaningless activity, right? I think that was kind of the big takeaway on this one. It's busyness without productivity, right? It's like, don't get stuck, jumping around from supplier to supplier to supplier. without ever moving forward to the next step where you're like launching ads and trying to learn maybe the marketing game, if that's the next thing on the list. By the way, jump in here at any point.
No, you're good. You're good.
Having too much fear to even start. So this is that analysis paralysis kind of thing. It's that person that they, instead of watching one course and getting started, they watch 6 courses and then 79 YouTube videos. And then they buy 7 different domains because they can't figure out the name of the store. And then they create 13 different logos. And, before you know it, in 6 months, you're still just building something that literally could have taken, 2 hours.
Sure. Sure. And I'm sure there's even people, here in this chat right now that might have been lurking in print-on-demand groups for a long time, and they've never actually done anything. And they might be in that camp. I see people, if I'm doing a live stream or something like that, I'll see names that like I start. I mean, you're the same way, I'm sure, Michael. Like there's people's names in the chats where you begin to recognize them because they've been around for a while, and you develop a little bit of a virtual relationship with them, right? And a lot of them have been around for a long time, but have never actually opened a store. And I think that's one of the worst traps to be in, because you're basically, just not doing anything. You're not getting started, and you're also not, stopping. It's like someone who, like I said, with the gardening, at some point I had to eventually just put seeds in the ground. At some point you got to choose a name, you got to choose a logo, and do something.
Yeah. Well, dude, we even see it in our data. I'm not kidding. I think we get like 1,000 installs a week or something like that, or 1,000 leads a week. I'm getting the numbers a little. I got so many numbers in my head, I can't keep them all straight. But my point is, it's normal. I think what we're describing here is normal. This is what normal human beings do. Yeah. They're unfortunately they're bench sitters. They literally they just sit on the sidelines and they watch other people play the game. That is the normal human being. If you're here and you're watching this, you're already a little bit extraordinary, right? Sure. Like you've already broken the mold a little bit in that way. If you continue to break the mold and you continue to take action, that is what's going to, if you want unordinary results, you got to do unordinary things, right? You have to be willing to go further than what normal people are willing to do. Right. So the fact you're here watching this, you should be encouraged by that. The fact maybe you've already started a store or launched some designs or picked a niche or taken a course, you should be encouraged by that. Let that encouragement, let that motivation take you forward into the next steps here. But truth be told, it's like I'm sure you see this even in your courses. 10% of people take action at the end of that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 10% of people put that into practice. I fully anticipate only 10% of people watching this are actually going to do something with what they learn, but let it be you, listener. Let it be you. Let you be one of those 10%. I challenge you on that. Anyway, okay. So busyness without productivity, I think, is kind of point 1. Point 2 is analysis paralysis, just kind of lurking, doing all this stuff without ever actually getting started. And then the last one is, I'm having a pretty distorted view of what this actually is, like seeing it as this get rich quick scheme where you think you're going to put a quarter in the slot machine, pull the lever, and be rich right away. That is not what this is at all. It's a skill set just like anything else. Do you have anything to add there? You think I recapped that well?
I think you got it.
All right. Let's do the next one. Motivation.
And this is how, like, I saw someone in the chat, they said how to get unstuck, right? Like this is how to get unstuck. The things that I just talked about for the last 30 minutes. These 3 things are how you get unstuck. Right now, sometimes people love this, and sometimes people are looking for a magic solution to get unstuck. Right? There's really no magic solution to get unstuck. You actually have to start thinking about this. Right? You have to figure out why you're doing this. Again, I'll let you do the recap, but these are the 3 things that you need to do to get unstuck.
It takes work. Yeah, your life is your fault, guys. Like, it's only on you. You have to initiate a self-rescue here, or else you will be a normal human being. Think about that.
Right.
Think about that. A year from now, all right, I have to keep myself short because I get carried away here too. A year from now, okay, the time will pass no matter what. We will be sitting on at August 26, 2023, before you know it. That time is going to pass no matter what. The question is, will you be any closer to your goals? Will you have done something meaningful with that time? Because I promise you, it is going to pass. Every single one of us here, we're on this train called time. It is relentless. It is relentless and ruthless, and it doesn't care about you. And in a year, we're going to be sitting on August 26, 2023, looking back. And the question is, will you have done anything meaningful with the time? That is, you need to look in the mirror and have a conversation with yourself and figure that out. If you need a little kick in the pants, there it is, guys. You're going to be a year older before you know it, and that much closer to your grave. All right, let's go. So figure out why you're doing this. This one actually spoke to me quite a bit, because I do tend to forget about this part. That you should have a vision or a dream. Like, you should be able to go down into your guts, do some soul searching, and figure out like why you're wanting to. If your goal is an extra $100 a day or whatever,
Sure.
The question is why? Why $100? Right.
And it doesn't have to be something like super emotional. Like, you don't have to say like, I want to be able to give my grandmother, the life that she always wanted to give me. Like, it can literally just be like, I want to be able to buy a dirt bike, right? Like, I want to be able to do something random, right? Like, it doesn't have to be this super emotional thing, but whatever it is, it's going to help you to be motivated to actually put in the work for it,
Yeah. And I would even encourage you should write down the why. And that's probably what you should stick up around yourself is motivation. All right. Come up with realistic goals. This for me was about systems over goals. It was like a goal is great, but a goal by itself, it doesn't really do anything. Like, you need to understand the systems you need to build to help you achieve the goal. What meaningful actions that you have full control over can you take to help you get to your goal? Did I kind of summarize that one correctly?
Yep.
All right, good. All right, next one. Make an honest assessment of your skills and plan for what you want to learn. So this one to me was all about kind of honestly looking at yourself, identifying gaps, and then making kind of game plans to resolve the gaps.
Right. Yeah. Basically doing an honest inventory of yourself and figuring out, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? If you're someone that doesn't know how to make designs, well, then maybe you should either figure out how to make them or figure out how to hire someone who does, or maybe you don't know how to market your products. Well, maybe you need to put the time in and learn, or hire someone to do it for you, or pay someone to help you, basically figuring out what skills do you have, what skills do you need, and how you're going to get them.
Have you ever heard it's a phrase or a quote? It says, that which does not hinder your that which hinders your task becomes your task.
No.
Yeah. So the idea is that which is holding you back is the next thing you need to solve.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one.
And it's kind of the same thing here. It's like, what are your gaps? What's holding you back? Fix that.
Right.
Don't let that become an excuse. Fix it and keep going.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Cool. So how to, traps to avoid, how to stay motivated with Joe Robert. Do you have any final kind of words related to that before we move to wrap this up?
No, I mean, I think I probably said enough here today. I think really my message would be, to anybody here who's thinking about doing POD, or maybe you've, been doing this for a while and you haven't, quote unquote found success. I would just say, this is a real business. You're asking real people to, like, when you're advertising and when you're posting on social media or whatever, it's real people that are seeing your stuff. It's real people that are actually visiting your site, and they're actually judging you, and they're actually deciding whether or not they want to give you their money or not. And I think in order to actually be successful with that, you have to do something epic. And a lot of the things that we talked about today, hopefully will help you on your quest to do that.
Yeah, totally agree. So where can people find you?
Oh my gosh, you guys can find me. You can go on YouTube. You can type in Joe Robert. I should come up. My channel has about 50,000 subscribers, which is super cool. I'm also, PODninjas.com. I do have a free print on demand course that you can go through. There's like 30 videos in there. There's actually something in there called the why document, right? So today I talked about identifying your why. There's a video lesson in there, and I actually have you print out a why document and fill it out It's a free course on PODninjas.com. And then I also have my POD Ninjas Facebook group. Right now, there's about 54,000 people in there, and it's a great little community. So that's where. And I'm on TikTok now at the POD Ninja. You can follow me there too for some quick 15-second tips and stuff like that.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on, guys. If you appreciated having Joe on today, drop some emojis in the. What's your favorite emoji? Do you have one?
So I can just pull up my most used emoji. Would be the little OK sign. That's the one I use the most. So I guess that's the one that would be my favorite.
Give us some OK signs in the chat. OK signs in the chat. Let Joe know you appreciate having him on. OK signs. And this is an OK sign, by the way. Something like that.
Yes.
In the chat. All right. If you enjoy ShineOn, you like what we're doing here, do me a favor, tell all of your buddies and all of your friends. If you have over 100 sales, you have a special referral link. You can find it at Analytics Referrals. It's in the top right. Share that with your friends. If you have somebody sign up through the link and they make a sale, you get 75 cents on every sale they make. We have had people make like real decent, pretty freaking good money on this. So please don't be shy. Share it with your friends. And until next time, if you want to start selling with us, go to ShineOn.com. You can also find us in the App Store now. Just search ShineOn in the App Store. If you're on YouTube, get over to our Facebook group and join the Facebook group. If you're watching this on Facebook, go to YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all that stuff. Here are some of our other links if you want to go check us out. We're also putting out some TikTok content, which is pretty cool. And till we see you next time, happy selling, everybody. Thanks so much for watching and take care.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for hanging out.